Hello and welcome to this video, and on this video I'm going to give you 10 reasons why Rush's comeback was absolutely perfect and flawless. Everyone else is going on about it. It's a big event, isn't it, in the old music world, especially in our music world, you know, the old man's music world, where we love progressive rock and classic rock bands. And of course Rush are one of the greatest of the classic rock bands and one of the greatest of the prog bands. And when Neil died, you know, we thought that was it and we'd never see them again, but they're back, aren't they? You know, I've got to do a video on this, but you know, by the time I actually got to my studio to do it, so many other people had reacted that I thought I've got to best them all. So I have decided to do a top 10 related to this very event. You know, 10 reasons. And I thought, is there 10 reasons why this was so fantastic? And there is. And you're going to find out what they are, and they're going to be ranked from good, really good reasons all the way up to absolutely brilliant reasons. None of these are bad reasons. All the reasons that we're going to look at today are going to be good ones, because I'm a happy man and the whole world's happy. There's people coming out on Facebook saying, oh, look at all the problems of the world. We've got a World War III coming on, and there's all the divisions in society and all the hate, but it doesn't matter anymore, does it? Because Russia are getting back together. That's how powerful it is. It's a bloody powerful thing, you know. This is important. It's a very important event, and people who don't think it's important, they don't count at all. So I've got the 10 reasons here in front of me. So shall we just get straight in there? And I mean, this has got everything. It's got Rush coming back, it's got Rush in it, and it's got me doing a top 10. Right? It's just the best video I've ever done, isn't it? This is the best one I've ever done. Well, it could be, couldn't it? Shall we find out? Because we now are going to move into the uncharted territory of a top 10. All I've got prepared are the 10 reasons here in front of me, thought out with great thought by myself this morning, lying in bed thinking about it. But now we have to traverse this 10. We have to, you know, step on the first rung of the ladder. And for Rush, that appearance at the Juno Awards on the 29th of March, and I'm recording this on the 30th, although it might be the 28th. But anyway, it's only a few hours ago that they were on stage. And because of the way the world is, this modern world, we get to see it beautifully shot and recorded. And what did we see? We saw Rush. And we knew it was Rush because we could see Geddy up there looking like Geddy Lee, and Alex Lifeson looking like Alex Lifeson. And then they had the Rush logo. And which Rush logo did they have? The very first Rush logo. Right? Is this the end or the beginning? Who knows? But what we do know is Rush is about to start on a new chapter, and probably the greatest new chapter in their 50-odd year history, maybe even 60, nearly 60-year history. They're making the new tentative steps into a world which they thought would never happen, or we thought it would never happen. You know, so it's like an end, but it's also like a beginning, isn't it? It's like the circle's drawn. And so we have at number 10 the song choice, which I thought was brilliant. Finding My Way. You know, now I've got a whole bunch of reasons why this was the best choice ever for song, but it was. And my first reason at number 10, which is a sort of minor reason, is the fact that this is a song that has not been played in the set for a long time. And when it has been played, it's been featured as a sort of, you know, in the medleys that they used to do in the old days. I think even then we've got to go back to 1985, which is 40 years ago, to find it appearing in a medley. I think it appearing full out is probably a little bit older than that, you know, because this song was the very first song on the very first album, and we will come to that in a minute. But that's my first reason on this, is I think it was a great choice. Because if they'd have gone for, you know, Tom Sawyer or YYZ or any of those, it would have made some people very happy and other people less happy. But with this choice was absolutely perfect. It's something we didn't expect. And so our Rush type of sort of telling us through this that we should, you know, be ready for stuff we don't expect. In other words, they are making the claim that this isn't just some sort of cash grab. It's not just some sort of nostalgic trip into the past by a bunch of old blokes who will only let us down by standing up there not looking like they were 22 years old, and standing there walking about all croaky and, sat in their wheelchairs cranking out, La Villa Strangiata. It's not going to be that. This is new. And by choosing Finding My Way, it announces to expect the unexpected. Brilliant, right. And at number 9, we now have the actual meaning of the song, which is a brilliant choice because in the way that I am finding my way through this video, we're riffing, we're making this up as we go along. And that's what Rush were doing in 1973-74 when they recorded that album. When it first came out, they were finding their way. And they did find their way. It was a prediction of what was going to happen. It was a prediction of the whole story that was going to come spilling out of this incredible band. Who would have known when, that first album came out, and we heard that first tune, how prophetic it would be, and things that had never happened back then have now gone into Rush lore, L-O-R-E, not L-A-W, because what would happen is that they would go on this journey, they would lose their drummer, and then they would bring in Neil Peart. And there's very few bands where you bring somebody in and they have that much of an effect on the band, on absolutely every aspect. And then that effect is disliked by the critics and the audience alike, but then they don't change their sound like the usual story and find this magical thing. They hammer down and they just aim at their end with glory. They choose to go out in glory with 2112, but it doesn't work. They become one of the biggest bands in the world, and from then on they have been touring stadiums, and they will be doing stadiums now. So they definitely did find their way. So this is an announcement that they are finding their way now. So we have the point made in just one song, and no other bands like this. They just get up and do what they did. Everyone analyses it. No one's analysing it in terms of, I wasn't too sure about that, and this was good. It's one of these rare things in modern culture, one of these rare things where someone's done something artistically, creatively, and everyone's coming out and going, yes, it's absolutely brilliant. And the thing is, they could be moaning, couldn't they? They could be moaning about all sorts of things, but they're not because of the way Rush are playing it. Because they're Rush. Because they're Rush. Only Rush could do this. And this is why they could well be the greatest band of all time. But how many bands have I said are the greatest bands of all time? Many, many. But if you add all those bands up, there's about 7 of them. They are probably the greatest bands of all time. And Rush is in that bracket. Yeah, forget about Oasis. They're not in that bracket. Guns N' Roses getting back together. They're not in that bracket. None of them are. None of them hold a candle to Rush. And holding a candle to things is the sort of proggy things that proggers do. They hold candles to things because it illuminates. And Rush are illuminating for us the future that they don't know. It's quite profound, I might be reading a bit too much into it. Right, so we've done the song meaning. At number 8, we've got the terrible thing of Neil Peart's shoes. And they're big shoes, aren't they? And Annika's a dainty little lady, isn't she? She can't be going filling a great big man's shoes like Neil Peart. It's not to be sexist, but I probably am, but I can't help it because of my age. No. She doesn't have to fill those shoes, does she? Because they're not Neil's shoes. They're the smaller shoes of John Rutsey. Poor old John Rutsey. Who, thank God he left the band, but he must have bloody kicked himself with his little foot. Kicked himself with his little foot, so it probably didn't even hurt, and then he was a failure at all that, and then the poor old bloke died young. I mean, I feel terrible for John Rutsey, I do, I must admit. There is no way that we could do any video Rush now without rejoicing on the fact that John Rutsey went, Neil Peart joined the band. And as much as we're upset of Neil Peart's relatively, early death, then we've also got John Rutsey's early death, which I'm upset about, but I'm not as upset as Neil's, and it brings up very strange emotions in me. But the point is, and I don't want to go down that route, and I don't know why I did, but I have done. But you can tell I'm very excited about this. So it's just coming out like I'm almost like speaking in classic rock Classic prog tongues, that's what you're getting here. I'm really not in control of what's coming out of my mouth at the moment. That could be a bad thing, that could be a good thing, I don't know. But I've got to beat the rest of the YouTubers that have come out, boringly going, I thought that was quite good, and I thought that was good. No, you don't get that from me. You get full on, I've had my coffee, and I'm ready to go, and that's what you're getting here. So, Anika hasn't got to fill the shoes of Neil Peart if they do this song. You see how clever Rush are. Oh, I don't know about Anika on that one. So she brought in all these incredible fills, and she usually plays a kit with a lot less bloody tom-toms. Although they weren't toms, were they? They were like timbales. I've got some of those. I might put them on my kit actually, because she's got some timbales giving us that real, And I tell you what I first saw doing that was Mike Portnoy in the band Transatlantic. So very interesting, the use of the old, mounted timbales to give you that very piercing panoramic sound, which of course us Rush fans love. We love a panoramic fill, don't we? And Neil Peart was the master of them, and there's Anika doing them on Finding My Way, which they weren't necessarily there, and everyone's going, oh, that sounds like Neil, not aware that Neil never played on this one, although he did on live versions, which you could go back, but obviously he never played on him because it hasn't been out for bloody 40 years live. They haven't done it for ages, so it's hard to bloody even compare it. You've got to start really digging out some bootlegs to find that, haven't you? Most Rush fans wouldn't do that, so they just have to accept it out. Can you see the genius of Rush? Genius. Everything's been thought out, absolutely everything. Every T has been crossed, every I has been dotted. And what's it been dotted with? With that bloody star logo with the bloke with the bare bum on it. That's what it's been dotted with. Let's get moving. Right. Number 7. Right, let's just say it. When I was like 13, 14, I heard Rush, I thought Neil Peart was the best drummer in the world. And many people do think he's the greatest drummer in the world, but he's not, is it? And he doesn't take anything away from him. He was the best drummer in Rush. But there's only one drummer in Rush. Well, there isn't now, is there? Because there's been actually 3. There's been John Rutsey, and he was definitely better than him. But is he, or was he, better than Anika is? And the answer is no. The fact is, Anika is an incredible drummer. Like one of the best. We all know us drummers. So all us drummers that got turned on to drums by Neil Peart and have had a whole lifetime playing drums, and then we discovered Dennis Chambers and Vinnie Colaiuta, and we know really where the drum bread is buttered. And it's buttered. It's not buttered by the likes of Neil Peart. It's buttered by the likes of Vinnie Colaiuta, or even modern legends like Gavin Harrison and Matt Garska from Animals as leaders. All able to fulfill, drum tasks way beyond anything Neil Peart could have done. And I'm afraid Anika, and I'm not afraid to say Anika can bloody play. She's better. I'm a drummer. Look, I can tell you can see that behind. Look at this. What's this here? Right, that's mine, that is. Unless you've got one of those, and I ain't talking about some cheap thing, that's bloody expensive, that one is there. Unless you've got something like that behind you, backing up what you're saying. Keep zipped, Rush fans. Anika is a better drummer, technically, than Neil Peart. Doesn't mean she can hold the candles out again. The prog candles out again. No, you have to understand, this is exciting, because once you've set this new landscape and this new band coming out, Anika's she's got the space to do her thing in it, and we know that, and we know she's going to come up with the goods. We know it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. She was strong, and they were sounding amazing. That's all I'm saying. Stronger in terms of the rhythmical foundation than maybe Rush had, the last few times they went out on tour. You see, they're strong. They are strong. They're strong, aren't they? At number 6, I've got this idea of the great circle, infinite circle, where the snake that represents both wisdom and terror and infinity, bites its own tail. Right? You know that snake? And of course, that's a very prog thing, and I love the imagery of that. And I would like to make out the point that by choosing Finding My Way, the very first tune, I may have sort of said this earlier on, but it's hard because the choice was so great that it's occupied, 4 of these, positions on my top 10 list. But, the idea that you're going to pick your first tune, and then when you're having this comeback when you're in your 70s, you're going to pick a tune that you wrote when you were in your early 20s, which is about you looking to the future. This idea of the beginning and the end. Is this the beginning of the beginning? Well, no. Finding My Way was the beginning of the beginning. But is it the beginning of the end, or is it the end of the beginning? Or is it the end of the end? To paraphrase Winston Churchill, which I felt was worthy in this video on Rush to bring Winston in. Disregarding, the Bengal famine and all the things that people like to now point at in our modern world, where they always have to bring everybody down, don't they, with their what about the Bengal famine? But there's no Bengal famine when it comes to Rush getting back together. That's my point. Where is it? Have they starved any Indians back in the 1940s? No, they haven't. Rush have not. We cannot lay the blame for that or anything else at their feet, because in this case, very rarely, unlike my current government or the powers that be, or most of the things in the world at the moment that don't seem to work right, Rush do. And they come out and deliver the goods, and no one can complain. No one's going to complain about this. This is a perfect move for everyone. So that's what I've got at number 6. Number 5, what's your main criticism of Rush? Well, my main criticism of Rush, as great as they are, they did bring about the incel movement. Rush in the early days, with Geddy Lee not being the most best looking bloke as a lead singer. He was no Robert Plant, was he, or Steven Tyler. So as soon as you traverse to get towards Rush, sat there in their sort of Japanese pajamas singing about totalitarian states, you know that all the ladies in the world were like, it was like repellent. It was like lady repellent, and the young men that went towards Rush, as I did, we went there knowing this. We went there that by liking Rush, we were going to lose any ability to procreate and carry on our gene line. That was not going to happen. But the fact is, Rush fans, despite these disabilities, did. Many of us did, difficult though it was. We were able to find some sort of female willing to procreate with a Rush fan, because they were there, and that gives us hope, you see. And Rush knew this, and Rush knew, almost like they were training sort of Jedi monks, Jedi prog young men, almost like prog Jordan Petersons. They looked after that incel group and supported them up through the 1980s. And however maligned we might have felt at that time, we always had Rush there, where you could always put on subdivisions, and we would see all the subdivisions, and we would know which subdivision we're in, right? The No Lady subdivision, that's the one we ended up in, and we might not have liked it, but it was a badge we wore with pride. Now they come back, and now they're in their 70s, aren't they? Alex and Geddy, they're in their 70s. So the idea of even considering this sort of sticky subject matter. And I meant sticky as in it's a subject matter we don't want to broach. Not that the actual act is sticky, although it could be. I don't know, can't remember. Anyway, the point is that now they return. And not only is Annika a brilliant drummer, but she's an attractive lady. And then they got this Lauren bloke on. Is that his name, Lauren? Lauren Gold, is it? I don't even know his surname, and I've just made up a surname. If I was going to make up a rock surname, I would put together the eternal glittering quality of gold with the sexy surname of Sophia Loren. I'd put them together a bit like a sort of Marilyn Manson. And this bloke's not been talked about, but there he is on the back playing the keyboards, also singing. But I looked at some photos of him, and he's a really handsome long-haired man, almost like an Adonis. He is definitely now the best looking man. And so at the back now we have this handsome man next to Anika. I mean, maybe Anika said she required somebody like that in the band, closer to her age, maybe someone she should get on with. I mean, she may well have a husband or a partner, or may not even be interested in that sort of thing. She might be the other sort of lady that's not interested in that sort of thing, and that might be a good That might, I mean, would it matter in Rush? I don't know. But now, maybe that's the whole point. Maybe Alex and Geddy are just showing her what you could have won as, what's the name? Jim Bowen used to say in Bullseye. My God, I got a lot of references in this one. I'm on form on this one, I tell you. Anyway, but they've got two handsome people in there, a couple. Maybe they'll get on and get married. And then maybe at the end of the tour, there'll be a big Rush wedding at the end. Well, wouldn't that be amazing that Rush actually caused a wedding rather than, getting in the way of weddings as weddings as they have done for the past 60 odd years? Right, shall we move on? So yes, Rush are now sexy. What a surprise, we never thought. And another surprise to me was there was rumours that Geddy couldn't sing. He can't sing, he can't do that. I mean, he's possibly one of the highest up singers in the history of rock, isn't he? I mean, especially on those early songs. And no man, Geddy Lee or other, should really be able to hit those sort of notes at his age, Every man the whole night places must be the ones who start. I mean, it's high up. All of those songs are high up for Geddy, aren't they, But what does he do? He chooses bloody Finding My Way off the first album. The first album is like the bloody... It's like the kryptonite of high singing for anybody who's an older singer. I mean, some singers, if you're Nick Cave, you don't have to deal with this, do you? Or David Sylvia. They can just... Or Brian Ferry. They can carry on forever. But if you're anybody that's known for singing high notes, you've got to do something about it. The keys have to come down. I tell you, they've all dropped the keys down. Not Rush. Geddy Lee was doing it. Now he was a little bit wobbly, but good enough, I thought. And so I thought that was a really good reason to be excited. Geddy is on form. He's singing absolutely amazing. At number 3, because I'm nearly through this list now. At number 3, I have got that Alex is happy. Yes, it's that high up on the list. When I watched it, I mean, Geddy's singing, and so he's pulling all them faces, isn't he, as he tries to sing as high as he possibly can. He's pulling all them faces with his little round glasses, on like that, and so he's there. I can't tell whether he's happy. I hope he's happy, but he's got a lot on his place singing, playing the bass, and he hasn't got to, obviously play the keyboards with his feet anymore, because they've got old bloody Adonis in the background, haven't they? Lauren Gold, the Adonis of keyboards. Ex-keyboardist with The Who. I bet he got booted out for that as well, because they're an ugly bunch, aren't they, The Who? They're an ugly bunch. But Rush won't be like that. They won't begrudge a man his looks. And actually, Alex Lifeson is a very handsome man, unlike Geddy, who's very, very ugly. So he's there. I mean, he has to pull those faces. There he is up front, all that, looking like Les Dawson. The sex maniac one with the little round glasses. I think he's taken on a look of that. If you got that bloke and put a wig on him, I don't know whether I'm putting images up or I can be asked to do that. I might do, but you might have a comedy image up now about that. But Alex is still a handsome man. And... and also, we've got to give it to them, they both got their hair. They got incredible hair for bloke in their 70s. So, Alex's worries back in 1974 of going bald, they didn't need to worry about those things, did they? They didn't need to worry about them. So I looked at Alex, he had a great big smile on his face, and he seemed really, he was sounding great, but he seemed happy. It's like, there they are, they're not there worried about it, they're not having to work hard, it's not stressing them out, they're not there going, what was people going to think? Alex don't care. He's just up there having a bloody whale of a time. I'll do that again. Having a whale of a time. Yeah, so I fancied it. I'll put that in at number 3. Alex is having a whale of a time. And if Alex is having a whale of a time, I am, and so should you. Right. A bit of anger at the end just to pep people up. Right. Number 2, one of the greatest moves, right? If you're going to come back like Rush, how do you stop the criticism? Well, you have to change something, don't you? Well, you've changed something already because there's no Neil Peart there and he's a key member. Oh, is it really Rush without them? I mean, could it be Rush? But you forget there's one thing that you haven't questioned. You haven't thought about it, but Rush have. And that is the fact that Rush are one of the great power trios. Not anymore. They're not even a quartet. Somebody said, oh, they're a quartet. No, they're not quartet. All right, they are a quintet because they got 5 of them on stage. If you don't know what that means, right? And I expect you to know a little bit of Latin, being Rush fans. That's what we expect from our Rush fans. You know, maybe not the sexual conquests, you know, the notches on the bedpost you would expect from a normal man, but at least a, you know, working knowledge of, you know, Latin, and understanding that, you know, the etymology of quintet comes from the Latin quin, which is the Latin for five, isn't it? Which is also the first syllable in the word quintuplet, something that Rush have utilised many a time musically, you see. What was we on now? Right, so yeah, number two is they are no longer a trio. Are they going to have a string quartet? Are they going to have a choir? What about guests? They might be bringing guests out when they're on tour who might come out and do a bit with them. Who knows? It could be anybody, couldn't it? You know, it better not be any other drummers. I don't want Annika stressed out, then bringing out Mike Portnoy to do a couple, you know, which is what we really wanted. No, I don't know. I want Annika. Annika's the best choice. Annika is the best choice. Right, Annika is the new drummer of Rush. Rush are back, and they've got a new drummer, and it's Annika. It's a girl with blonde hair, and she's bloody amazing. This is, who could, I mean, there's got to be a God, hasn't there? Because you couldn't, if you were like saying what should happen in the universe, you wouldn't say this, would you? You wouldn't have ever said this. It's too strange. It's too strange for the universe to be random. It has to have some sort of order. Because how could this happen? I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this. I think I'm trying to prove the existence of God through Rush's, you know, comeback. I'm trying to attempt to do that on this video. No, the other YouTubers will do that. So even though I might have failed, you can still respect the bloody attempt, can't you? Right, shouted at them again. Right, what have I got at number one? What have I got at number one? Drum roll, please. At number one, the best reason why Rush's comeback was the best is they're back. They're back, everybody. Oi, you down there. Oi, mates. You. Rush are back. Yeah, they're back. Rush are back. Yeah, I know, it's exciting. You see him? Yeah, I know, not a football wrong. He's all right. Out the way with it. Get out the way. Out the way. Oi, you over there. Mrs. Yeah, you going shopping. Yeah. Rush are back. Did you see it? It's on YouTube already. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, they did it. Oh, didn't put a foot wrong. Bloody hell, the whole world's rejoicing. What's this I hear? Oh my God, I cannot believe it. They're over here, coming down the road with our marching band. They're celebrating that Rush is back. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, they're going around the corner now. They're not coming down. I would have shown you them if further they come down. They've gone round the corner now. So that's that. So that was the. See, a lot of YouTubers don't understand. You have to have an emotional peak of your video. Right, it's a little bit like the sex act. Not that you would know about it, but it does have to climax at the end. You do need to get that thing here, and I think I will now sit back, and I will have a rest, you know, maybe have a cigarette, you know. A lovely YouTuber has sent me a gift, and I really do treasure this gift. There's so many gifts in here from various viewers. I do appreciate this. It's a wonderful thing, you know, because after having a whole, you know, life being a Rush fan and not really having anyone show me much love, to have your love at this point, but this one is special. I've got to show you it. And as I have the secret aim of promoting the anti-Rush. You love Rush, do you? You love all the complexity and strangeness. You think they're strange, do you? Right, they're weird and strange, are they? Or they're complex on time signatures and all that type of stuff. Oh, they're amazing. And they got that thing where they traverse between rock music and punk and all these other different music. They're great, aren't they? Yeah. But what about the anti-Rush? What about the not like anti as in they're opposite to Rush in that way, but like, you know, you got matter and antimatter, and they live in a symbiosis. It's the same thing with Rush. Do you want to know what the anti-Rush is? Well, it's represented by this gift that was sent me, and it's this. Look at this. Thank you. loyal viewer for sending me this. They messaged me and said, "Oh, Andy, I've got a spare copy of Sing to God. Would you like it?" Yeah, I bloody well would. I don't own any Cardiacs albums, but I do now, and I own this beauty, which is the best one, and I've got it on vinyl in double album form. Look at that. If you want one of these, get yourselves over to Bandcamp and go over to their company, the Alphabet Business Concern, and get yourself one of these. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at this. And you get a nice picture of the lads there. Look. I know this has nothing to do with Rush, but you don't have to always keep on subjects, And then we've got this here. And then we got another picture of them there looking like that. In fact, we could put this together. You could have two pictures of Cardiacs like that there. Look at that. Is that not amazing? If you don't know who this band is and you're a Rush fan, go and check them out. And then tell me whether you like them or hate them. Because I know some of you will think, oh my God, Andy's done me a favour and just, alerted me to one of the greatest bands that's ever existed, which is the truth. And some of you, the more conservative Rush fans out there, might find that you can't take it. It's a bit too much for you, and you will malign them. And that's the right way to be. This should be maligned and worshipped at the same time. This splits, like Rutherford split the atom and then discovering the nature of the universe, the fundamental nature of the universe, only to find that it was irrational and strange. Well, that lovely, perfect, world that's represented by Rush, the platonic material world, the solidity that's represented by not putting a foot wrong. Where did they go wrong? They didn't go wrong, did they? Well, they did. What about Hold Your Fire? Don't forget all that. Don't worry about that. What about all the mullets of the 80s? No, don't worry about that. It was stylistic. But the point is that when you boil down to Rush, what you will find is everything is in the right place. Everything is meticulously arranged. But when you boil down into this, you will realise the chaos of quantum physics. You'll come against the problem of musical superposition or whatever it's called. You will get Schrodinger's bloody prog band, won't you? Lurking there. Is that cat alive or is it dead, or is it alive and dead, or is it never existed and wasn't there in the first place? You can't open the box, because if you do, you're going to change it. You're going to change the very bloody nature of what it was by looking at it. But it's not your eyes looking at it. No, it's to do with the bloody interference from the rest of the world, which you're a part of. Your gaze is a part of the interference of the world. You engage with the world. But your engagement happens at a bloody atomic level. Our engagement does. I don't know what I'm talking about at the end of this video, but I have, over the last few days, got a renewed interest in quantum physics. I've been trying to understand it, watching those Feynman lectures, but they're all a bit black and white and old for me. I don't like watching black and white stuff, really, now. I like a bit of colour stuff, so I switched it off, put something else on, watched a Rocky film. And there was far more wisdom in that than anything a bloody quantum physicists can come up with. It's just a load of gobbledygook. They're just making it up, aren't they, so they can have their jobs. It's what bloody quantum physics are. What do you do? Oh, we study this, and what do you know about it? Well, what we know about it is you can't know about it. Nobody can know about it. But once you know you can't know about it, then you know about it, because you know about it because you don't know about it. What are you going on? You're supposed to be a scientist. Oh, I've done all the maths. I'll show you the equation now. You don't know it's right or wrong. It could just be all a load of bloody gobbledygook too. Probably is right, but what does it represent? It represents the fact that you don't know bloody anything about anything. That's what it represents. You've got a bloody equation to prove you don't understand anything. Bloody weirdos, quantum physicists. Right. Got past the 30-minute mark. I don't like to do a video less than 30 minutes, so we're done, aren't we? Thank you for watching this one, and couple of days' time, this is coming out on Monday, the 30th of March. Couple of days' time, there's going to be a big event happening. Keep your eyes out. We've all gone on about what the best prog is. You think Rush is good, you wait. Because something's happening on Wednesday in the progressive rock world, which is going to be like an earthquake. It's going to split that world apart. Not like Rutherford split the atom apart, because that was tiny. I'm talking about a proper earthquake. That you can fall down into the chaos that is represented by the underworld. My God, this is because it's Rush. I expect a reaction video to this where somebody goes through every single metaphorical metaphor. They're my favourite metaphors, they are. That every metaphorical metaphor I've used in this video, because I think I've put more in this one than ever in the history of videos. And why? Well, maybe that's the great esoteric reason behind this video. Maybe there's a reason for all this. And if you really think hard, like you have to do with a Rush song, maybe you really think what's this all about, what are they trying to tell me? If you really, really concentrate, you might find out the deep meaning of this. There could well be a deep meaning that maybe even I don't know, hidden away at the bottom of this video. So if you think you know what it is, why was there so many metaphors in this one? Why? It's because I cannot say with words how important